Now on Morning Drive, while you were sleeping, big names in action in Korea. None bigger than Justin Thomas. The 24-year-old goes out in 29 and ends up shooting a 63.
I had a 7-hole stretch there where I basically kind of went unconscious, and that was pretty much most of my round.
We have highlights and reaction from the tournament leader. Coming home, Spaniard Sergio Garcia hosting the Andalucia Valderrama Masters in Spain. How low did Garcia go on his favorite golf course in the world?
I love it. I think it's my favorite golf course ever.
Plus, fellow countryman John Rahm just teed off. We have updates throughout the morning. And Colin Montgomery joins us live. The Hall of Famer is coming off his 6th PGA Tour Champions victory and in prime position to challenge 4-time Schwab Cup champion Bernhard Langer.
Langer's on his way north to Richmond. You know, we're aiming for you.
Morning Drive on Thursday, October 19th, 2017 starts right now. And welcome inside Studio AP. Damon Hack alongside Gary Williams, Charlie Reimer warming up in the bullpen. Bailey Moser in just a little bit. Good morning, partner. Are we headed to a Dodgers-Yankees World Series, man?
Don't tease me. Don't tease me. Let's focus on the task at hand.
Yes, let's focus on golf.
Yes.
A lot of it overnight. In case you missed it, what's happening now? How about Justin Thomas? There's no slowing him down. He opened in 2090 cards, a 63. He wins Player of the Year last year, Gary. There is no slowing the FedEx Cup champion down.
And can anybody take it deeper than he can? 63 in a U.S. Open, 59 at Sony. Phenomenal start. We're going to hear from him in just a moment. What else is happening now? You know, it's always fun to go home, but there could be distractions. We're going to discuss that. But Sergio Garcia hosting his own event and off to a very solid start.
And finally, Lydia Ko, winless in 2017. She does have 9 top 10 finishes this season. Hasn't won since July of 2016. She opened with a solid round of 70 in Taiwan. You see she's currently tied for 5th, looking for that first win. We're just trying to find some momentum just to get her over the hump and be the former world #1 that we all remember.
Yeah, and what else is happening now? And I don't know what is happening here, but 2 nights ago, this is game 4 of the Yankees-Astros. That's the U.S. Open champion.
Right.
I don't know what he's wearing.
That's a fashion forward, I would say.
It is?
Yes. Well, look at Jordan Spieth's comment.
What the hell did you spill?
That's pretty
funny. And then
funny.
No Laying Up had a great response. That's your shot link from 13 at Birkdale, referring to Spieth at the Open.
Wouldn't have said that if Max Kuchar had won the Claret Jug, would you, Chris?
And by the way, Koepka, let's go Houston. You're a Mets fan. I don't get that at all. All right, I'm going to walk over. You mentioned Charlie in the bullpen.
Big time.
Is Charlie a middle reliever or is he a big game starter?
Oh, he's Nuke LaLoosh.
He is? $1 million arm, 5-cent head? Remember that line, don't you?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Bull Durham?
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, was it back in the 60s?
No.
Tim Robbins.
All right, let's get to some highlights. We talked about Jordan Spieth, or pardon me, Justin Thomas. He started in prime time when the Yankees were shutting out the Astros. Let's take a look at what he did, Charlie, because here he is. Started with bogey on 10, putting for eagle on the 12th.
Yeah, don't ever get bummed out when you start with a bogey because you could go all Justin Thomas and turn it around, but you're probably not going to.
Yeah, this was his first 9. So here you can see on 15, he's 2 under par, pitching from the bunker.
Yeah, just every part of his game this entire year has been absolutely on fire. No surprise to see him pitching it in. You can see he was very excited about that ball going in the hole.
Yeah, I mean, now on 16, just off the putting surface.
Just textbook, dead center, perfect speed, and you know what? That's what his intention was. And when they've been going in from everywhere, why wouldn't you expect that they'd all go in?
Oh, he's so animated. Now on 18, you can see he's 5 under from 142. And you've asked about these scoring clubs and his wedges.
Yeah, let me point something out. This hole is 568 yards. That's the second shot. It's
crazy.
A par 5.
So,
thank you very much.
By the time he got into the latter part of the round, you can see 12:22 Eastern. Now, prime time on the West Coast, he makes another one.
Wide awake.
Yeah. So he makes the turn in 29.
remarkable round of golf. And nearly at the same time Thomas, guys, was finishing his round, the Swinging Skirts LPGA Taiwan Championship was underway. The LPGA, yes, also this is their Asian swing as well. This is Yoon Hee Ji, Charlie Reimer, her approach on the par 4 10th hole.
Absolutely love this golf swing. You got a little rain coming down. You got a little rain jacket on when you swing it that well. The elements don't bother you one bit.
A lot of birdies being made just a few minutes after Justin Thomas was doing his thing. How about Ariya Jutanugarn, 1:25 a.m. This is her approach on number 9.
Yeah, she compresses the ball more than any other player on the LPGA. Tremendous amount of speed. She can make any golf course play really, really short and doesn't even have to go to the driver off the tee to do that.
Made that birdie.
Were you asleep? It was 125.
I was in REM mode at that point.
How about 304? Was
starting to stir a little bit.
I bet you were.
To think about morning drive. Lydia Ko, how about that shot, Charlie?
Well, hopefully her game's starting to stir a little bit as well. Really nice pitch in right there.
Finished 2 under, 4 shots back.
There you go. All right, so 304, you were stirring.
I was stirring.
Yeah, so was I. I can promise you that. All right, we move on. Sergio Garcia, Valderrama, when I see this, I think of the 97 Ryder Cup and the fact that Seve appeared to be on every hole at the same time. But here is your host, 618. We're working, Charlie.
Yeah, we're working. Seve wouldn't have liked the club selection here, but I think he probably would have appreciated the result. You know, Seve would have been pitching it from there, no doubt.
Dead
probably
center.
would have made it as well.
No doubt about it. So we go to the 6th hole, and he's putting together a very good round. And at 6:56, we're getting ready to come on the air in less than 5 minutes.
And Sergio's doing what he does best, taking an iron right to the bucket. I think over the last 15 years, he's been the best iron player on the planet.
Actually, we were going to come on. We came on at 8 Eastern. I'm disoriented. All right, 8th hole now. Here he is, tee shot at 7:25 a.m.
Uh-oh. Didn't quite get that one squared up. Going for the big one, maybe trying to drive this par 4. And he drives it over there in the, what is that, cork oak? Not a good place to be.
No, it was not. He would go on make bogey from there. But let's take a look at the leaderboard. He is tied for the lead with Joost Luiten. Opening rounds of 66. Robert Rock, great hair. He's 1 shot back. But the star of the morning or the overnight was Justin Thomas. Here is his reflection on that round with our Rich Lerner.
It was kind of a weird day, but
how so?
It just was. It started off with a really, really bad bogey. And it just, I mean, I had a 7-hole stretch there where I basically kind of went unconscious, and that was pretty much most of my round.
Well, we know you're a goal setter, and I know you won't share those goals until you get to East Lake. Safe to say they're as lofty as a year ago?
Yeah, it was tough this year making the goals, but at the same time, they're usually pretty similar each year in terms of how I break them up. They're, some achievable ones, some ones that I feel like, I can, and then some that are a big stretch, I guess you could say.
In what areas do you think you can improve?
In terms of my game, definitely consistency. Obviously, I would take last year every single year of my career, but I was pretty upset and disappointed with how many cuts I missed, or how when I wasn't in contention, I felt like I was out of the tournament. And I want more top 10s, I want more top 20s when I'm not playing well, instead of a weekend off or teeing or finishing before the leaders tee off on Sunday.
Guys, as we look at these 2 first-time champs from 2017, important to note that Sergio Garcia is 13 years older than JT, 37 to 24. Sergio, you see the scar tissue that he had before winning that first major championship. I mean, Charlie, you predicted kind of a cooling-off period for Sergio after he won the Masters, hasn't won since. But why hasn't Justin Thomas cooled off? A life-changing moment for both players, but Justin's kept the pot boiling.
Well, when you look at Sergio's career in the majors, so many times, so close. We just saw the 22 top 10s, probably 10, maybe 12 legit opportunities to win a major championship before he finally got
4
it done.
seconds.
Yeah, and Sergio was the guy. Justin Thomas, the guy. Sergio just didn't break through and win that major. So then it's all of this heartbreak and these lows. You remember he had his Wonder in the Wilderness period where
couple of them.
he showed up at Celtic Manor with the pom-poms on, not part of the Ryder Cup team, but they wanted him there in spirit. And to go through all that he went through and then finally have this big emotional breakthrough, I just think it's human nature to sort of let go a little bit, enjoy it. I call it a victory tour, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, you work as hard as he did and have as much heartbreak as he did, and you get that first major, especially if it's the Masters. You know what? Breathe a little bit. And I just didn't think Sergio, it would be anything that would spur him on the rest of the season. He hasn't played horrible golf, but he certainly hasn't won. I think next year, with it being a Ryder Cup year, he's going to get back into his winning ways. But now Justin Thomas, the same expectation that maybe we have from Sergio, breaking through with a big year, including that first major championship, that's a little different deal. This thing, with Justin, getting that first major out of the way, that might just free him up a little bit. He's going to have to be careful with his scheduling. He's going to have to make sure he doesn't overschedule. But I just see that first major for him, the FedEx Cup, the Player of the Year, all that at his age, getting it that early. I see him, the way he's wired and the people he has around him, the competition that he has, I see him using it really, and we talk about it a lot, Gary, the floodgates don't open very often for a player. I think the floodgates are open for Justin Thomas.
Interesting. Sergio didn't win one major. He won 2. He got married. Yes. Now he's expecting a child.
Yep.
There were other things that were going on in his life. For Justin Thomas, what I found interesting is he wouldn't admit this, but you had to feel some sense of a burden with all that Spieth was doing and applying pressure to himself. He worked very, very hard. He said to me early in the year when he won those 2 in Hawaii, he goes, now the next thing is they're going to say, you haven't won on the mainland.
Yeah, that's right. They did say that.
They did.
And you're right. They did say, this is Jordan Spieth's friend. You're Jordan Spieth's friend. No, he's Justin Thomas. Now he's Justin Thomas. Now he's the Player of the Year and a major champ and a FedEx Cup champ, and he shot 59 and he shot 63 in the U.S. Open and he holed out from the bunker in the President's Cup. Think about the year that he had.
He's 4th in the world.
4th in the world, and all of the times in contention, Charlie. And you talk about scheduling. It has to be exhausting when you think about the high-pressure moments that he had in 2017, and now we're going to ask him to do it again. And Rich Lerner, we heard it in that sound. We know you have goals probably as lofty as you did in 2017. He does have to be careful. He's 24, so I imagine the major is going to feel like jet fuel for him, but I imagine he has to be careful with everything that happened.
Absolutely, and it's really hard, I think, for an average golfer to relate to. Are you kidding me? You talk about being burned out and tired. Folks that work Monday to Friday are just dying to get to the golf course on a Saturday, and you got guys getting paid a lot of money deciding to take some time off. It's not quite that simple, folks. There's the burnout is more on the emotional side than it is on the physical side. I mean, you come out and you're a top player. You've got these cameras looking at you from the time you get out of your car in the parking lot until you leave at night.
That's an excellent point.
You are on stage and you're expected to be on point, and everything you do is analyzed, and you can't do that every day of the year and maintain your performance or maintain your sanity. So the off-season becomes very, very important. These players have to stay fresh, and they have to continue to look at the game as something that's fun, not something that's work.
And Damon, he's entered the category where every week's going to be a referendum.
For sure.
Like it was for Jordan Spieth. The year after he had the amazing year in 15, he had a multi-win season.
Yeah.
And people are like, what's wrong with you?
What happened to you?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, Justin Thomas had the best shoes in the President's Cup. I love those kicks. When he gets back to the States, I want to ask him,
those are
what
classics.
style of shoes were those? All right, speaking of Justin Thomas in Kentucky, that's where he's from. That's what's happening now. The Barbasol Championship moving to the Commonwealth in 2018. It will be held at the Champions Course at Keene Trace Golf Club, 10 miles outside of Lexington. Social media time. Let's say good morning to Bailey Mosier.
Good morning, Damon, Gary, and Charlie. Yes, Damon and Gary, earlier y'all were talking about Brooks Koepka and his sweater that he wore to that game. You were remiss, Damon, you didn't talk to Gary about his shirt, those mackerels, those trout on him. We'll get to that in just a second. How about this guy without even a shirt on, just that jacket, those suspenders? Who is this? This is Jesper Parnevik. This isn't happening now. This happened a long time ago in the 80s, but it was just posted on social media this week. Thank you to Mrs. Parnevik who put that out there. Now, Gary, I have a question for you. I know that your youngest is going to to homecoming here in a few days. A, is this what the kids are wearing these days? Is your
She's not going if that's what the guy's going to wear.
She might. What would you do if you showed up like that?
I would say, have a nice evening by yourself.
By the way, do you want to defend the fish?
Of course, the holy mackerel.
Holy mackerel.
That's
okay.
the theme.
You like the shirt?
I thought when it first put it up, I thought that was you from growing up in New Jersey. I thought, well, who did they get that from Gary?
Oh, come on, I was a little preppy kid. I wouldn't wear that.
Absolutely. T-sheet time, Bailey. What do you have?
Mackerels are high in omega-3 oils, by the way.
Yeah,
so good job, Gary. All right, T-sheet time indeed. Let's turn our attention now to an age-old question. Is golf art or is it science? We see extremes on both ends in the professional ranks. The artist, Bubba Watson, the scientist, Bryson DeChambeau. But where should your focus and energy lie? Our crew has a lot of thoughts on the subject. They're going to share those in about 10 minutes from now. And both artistry and engineering went into building the childhood home of Rory McIlroy, which is up for sale, and it can be yours for a mere $320,000, a small price to pay if it will in any way translate into the monetary success McIlroy has enjoyed. Forbes listed him as the 6th highest paid sports person in all of 2017. So more details on how his Hollywood home can be yours coming up in just a little bit. And we are going to be joined live later this hour by the most recent winner on the PGA Tour Champions. That's Colin Montgomery. We're going to get his thoughts on the golf as art or science debate and find out how he plans to stop Bernhard Langer from winning the Charles Schwab Cup for a 4th consecutive year. That's all on its way on this Thursday edition of Morning Drive. Stick with us, folks. We're back in just a few short moments.
That's Hollywood, Northern Ireland. Yeah, 1L. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
You're not going to
Wouldn't Rory just buy a
for
Charles?
320 grand.
Soccer season.